Hello and welcome to the 4i-magazine podcast. I am Federica Bressan and today we talk about training in cybersecurity with Patrick Wheeler, expert and educator in cybersecurity. Let's go. Welcome, Patrick. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Federica. It's a pleasure.
So today's topic is training in cybersecurity. I guess the question is not what skills I need to acquire to work in cybersecurity, but what kind of professional figures are needed in cybersecurity?
It's a really good question, and it is one that is changing over time. One of the things that we have historically focused on is people who were technically inclined, technically trained, people who had an academic background in ICT, computer technology. And what we're seeing now is that as cybersecurity becomes so pervasive socially, that we actually are finding incredible successes for people from really diverse backgrounds and different educations, and even no education. So people who have a deep passion around social justice issues, around data issues, around ensuring that our systems and our services honor the commitments that we make to our customers. These are the types of people that we need to be bringing into this domain. So these are legal people, these are communications people. There's really a broad spectrum of the type of persons and profiles that we need to bring into cybersecurity today.
I like to hear that because indeed, isn't it a popular belief that someone who works in cybersecurity is just a super nerd who is the one that tweaks the code and works at that level? But there are so many figures that are needed because cybersecurity is also a social issue. So you are the co-founder of Wayfinder, a training program in cybersecurity. For example, what kind of professional figures you form in your program?
So indeed, this is one of the things that we looked at. The argument we had is that the traditional pipeline of cybersecurity professionals is quite broken. And if you think about it, there's a lot of effort to make people aware of STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and maths. But then when I looked around the people who were successful and who were my peers and colleagues, I found people with PhDs in opera. I found people who had absolutely no academic background at all. Now, some of these were indeed your deep, deep nerd profiles, and they had started when they were 13 years old, programming back on systems that don't exist anymore. And they live and breathe microcode, and their abilities are astronomical. But the analogy I liked best came from one of my military colleagues. And one of the things he said is that for every elite person you put on the front line of a topic, there's a huge number of people who are working behind them to support that person. So not every person who works in cybersecurity is some sort of elite cyber ninja, guru, graybeard, Gandalf character. And indeed, the vast majority of us have normal, safe civilian lives, and yet we get to go to work and we put on a little bit of a superhero cape. Because at the end of the day, the mission that we're involved in is protecting our organizations from people who mean it harm. And indeed, one of the other really good analogies is to think of us as being firefighters or the people that you call as first responders in case of an accident. And so a lot of our cybersecurity professionals are those who are there to help when things go wrong, and that we are also there to try to make sure that things don't go wrong in the first place. And so the need for multimodal teams, people that are able to work with our business lines, that are able to work with our customers. But I would have to say the biggest thing we need is a constant level of curiosity. This is someone who keeps saying, but why is that? But then why is that? So you could almost say we need a lot of 2-year-olds in cybersecurity, the people who are always asking why and are never satisfied with because. And some of the most successful people who have come through our programs, and I look for this in the recruitment program. Sometimes people will say, I was in a call center and someone said, oh, there was a small problem. And they said to IT, but IT gave me back an answer that said, oh, don't worry about it. But I wasn't okay. I kept poking at it. And in the end, I found out that my customer was being compromised. And I said, yes. These are the kinds of profiles that we need, the ones who are not willing to say good enough and walk away when someone says, oh, don't worry about that, it's quite okay.
Well, I would like to ask you a question that is, who trains the ill-intended people, because they are highly skilled. I actually argue that they need to be one step ahead of those who know the systems well, because they need to know the systems, their vulnerabilities, and how to exploit them. They're good. Who trains those people?
Well, actually, I love this because that's actually not true. We classify the attackers by several different grades of competency. And the very beginning grade of competency is what we call the script kiddies. And this term has been around for decades at this point. And these are quite literally, quite often young children who download some tools off of the internet and start teaching themselves. They nowadays we have online videos. It's not too hard to get onto the dark web, and you get into some community forums, and you start to think that you're quite a good attacker. And one of the really good analogies for this is, and you hear it a lot, which is that the attacker only needs to find one single point of weakness, whereas the defender needs to be able to be perfect at every time. And that's not exactly a correct analogy anymore. But the thing that's happened more recently is that the tools that are available to the attacker have gotten better and better, to the point where we have organized crime groups where they buy tools. These are technically supported tools. So the same thing that you would be technically supporting something with a help desk. So you can train yourself. They have online videos and tutorials on how to do these. The other thing is you find geographical areas where certain competencies of this develop. People talk a lot about the Yahoo boys, and this is a culture that grew up out of some communities in Africa that were very much in the lonely hearts. They were doing the spam attacks. I want to transfer 2 million euros from so-and-so's account, and you have the same name as that person. So we do the type of advanced fee frauds. A lot of people start at low-level crime like this. So we talk about the ABCs, the addicts, bikers, and carters. So you've got the script kiddies at the bottom layer. I take the ABCs a little bit later. These are people who are more proficient in criminal behaviors. Then you get to the office park industrialists. But as you get to the upper echelons, you actually get to the nation-state adversaries. One of the most proficient attack groups right now is the Army of North Korea. They're attributed for doing a lot of cyber attacks against financial functions. I'm proud to say that one of the banks I was in charge of was attacked by North Korea in the early stages of their proficiency, and we were successful at staving them off. But these types of attacks do come at different levels. And when you actually look at what North Korea's army of hackers do, they actually use a lot of these commercial tools, and they even use some of the tools that the script kiddies do. What they have, though, is a massive market of opportunity. There's so much vulnerability across all of the internet that they don't have to be that good to find these types of vulnerabilities. And the problem is we have to be this good, not just within our corporation, but societally. We need this across our societies. And this is one of the challenges in a huge number of corporations today, and government agencies today, and hospitals, and all of these critical infrastructure and functions. We need people who are going to help us be the good people to build the tools that we need and the walls that we need to keep these people out. And so this is not necessarily about being an elite cyber attacker or an elite cyber defender. A lot of it is industrialized at this point.
Wow. So that was very interesting for me to ask you, because I think that one of the specific traits of the attackers in this domain is that you don't know who they are, or you don't see them. It's like an invisible enemy. Sometimes even it may take some time to realize that you have been attacked. So,
exactly.
Right? And
yes.
We are involved at so many different levels, and we need a culture around this. And this will be the topic of our next interview, cyber culture. So I would like to thank you for your time today, and I will see you in our next interview together.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you for your time today. I would like to encourage our audience to check the description of this video for more information. Don't forget to check the 4i-magazine YouTube channel for more episodes of this podcast. And thank you to my guest today. I'm Federica Bressan, and I'll see you next time. So long.